Been watching very educational, informative, and most importantly, authoritative shows after the US elections. Shows like The View, in order to enlighten myself, to become a better person, and learn a little bit more about empathy. And what I found out is who to blame. Who to blame for the democratic process. And it seems that black women are not to blame. Congratulations, lady. You have tried to save America from the brink of ruin. But white women, unfortunately, The View considers you to be very problematic because you have voted incorrectly. You have been given power and you have abused it, and The View is now going to hold you responsible. The correct choice was to vote for the Democrat Party. That is the only thing. And the same with Latinx, right? Like Latinx people, you had to vote for the Democrat Party and you have voted incorrectly, and now The View is very upset with you. Unironically, though, I have seen many people on Reddit asking for deportations now. It's very interesting how they're coming to terms with the Republican Party's agenda. And there were posts on Reddit. It's like, I got this neighbor and he's a Trump supporter, but his parents are here illegally. How do I report him? How do I snitch? Where do I snitch? You know, that's a good attitude. Like, keep the same energy for the rest of the Trump presidency. Others have become racists. You know, this pleases me. Like, maybe we're going to have banter back on the internet. Maybe we can get our gamer words back, and maybe we can have entertainment great again. Seems like this is how you make liberals racist. You vote Republican, and they become more like we actually now have a lot to learn about racism. A lot of right-wingers have forgotten how to be racist. So if you want to get educated, you need to go on Reddit, see how liberals talk with each other, and start copying some of that, because it's good shit. Like, even the Nazis aren't capable of this level of racism. It's so racist that I can't even show it on YouTube. It would be terms of service guideline violation, but for some reason on Reddit it's allowed. But anyway, one of the things they're wondering is how is the Trump presidency going to look like? And is the agenda 2024. It's the equivalent of the gay agenda, but for the liberals, you know? It's like back in the day during the Bush era. It's like, we can't let Obama win because it's going to be the gay agenda. So it's a lot of agendas now. The way that I looked at it, it's made by a think tank. Trump disavowed it, and I kind of understand why. It's kind of like the Green New Deal for Republicans. Like, if you remember the Green New Deal, the one that AOC was proposing, was absolute mental insanity. It would have financially crippled America. And it's no surprise that even Democrats, some of them, didn't want to vote on the Green New Deal. So it's the same thing with the Agenda 2024. Some of the propositions there are actually things that Trump will implement. In fact, this is why he got elected, like things regarding immigration, for instance. Other things are more of a pipe dream and will not be implemented. Now, again, it's kind of like the Green New Deal, but you got to take into account that even if the Republicans have the White House and the Senate and the House and the Supreme Court, and the popular vote, even then, like, some of the propositions from the agenda are so radical and extreme that representatives of swing states, if they ever want to win elections again, will probably not vote on it. So this is why I don't think that the agenda is going to happen. Like, for instance, banning pornography. It's like, what, from the entire internet? Okay, if you do that, and you're in a swing state, do you think you're going to get a seat again as a politician? Do you not think that this is going to give ammunition to your opponents? Do you even think you're fixing anything? Because it's like, okay, let's say there's no more porn on the internet. Now you get porn magazines again. It's just one example. Like, there's many such suggestions on the agenda that if you're in a swing state and you want to win the next elections, even if you're Republican, you may say, well, this is a little bit too extreme, and then my opponents are going to win the vote next time. So they're unlikely to support it. And again, Trump himself is married to a woman that had her breasts shown in a British magazine back in the day when his wife was 18. He is a man of showbiz. He has talked and worked with porn stars. Again, this is just one example because it's the most easily debunkable. Um, but no, I don't think this is what they're going to do. I think like they may try to push some of it, and a lot of it may actually fall under the Supreme Court, which even if it has like Republican judges, they have on many occasions shut down actual things that were coming from the Republicans. They're not really that active as judges. In fact, I would say that the right-wing judges on the Supreme Court, they kind of do try to abide by the Constitution in most cases. So, like, for instance, downsizing the government. In some cases, it may work. In some cases, they may have to face legal battles, and I think the Democrats will want to make those legal battles last as long as possible until the next elections in the hopes that the Republicans are not going to have the same majority. So the question is like, okay, well, how is a Trump presidency going to look like? Well, unlike the first time, now they do have the popular vote. As I mentioned, they have the Senate and they have the House, and they also have the Supreme Court. So theoretically, they can actually do pretty much whatever they want within the limits of common sense, because again, the Republicans from swing states, even if they're Republicans, they're not going to go ham on this because they still want to be reelected. So when it comes to immigration, I do think that, yeah, like he's actually going to try to start deportations. I do think that he is actually going to try to start shrinking the government. I do think that he's going to put RFK in a position where he can have authority over Big Pharma. I do think he's going to do that, and the reason for it is that in the first election, he is like one of the few politicians that I could actually see was trying to implement the campaign promises. So it's quite possible he will actually commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht, because this is what he promised the Libertarians. It's possible that he may actually give one seat for the Libertarians in his cabinet. It's possible that he will actually try to start the biggest deportation campaign in human history. Because these are promises that he made. Now, will he be successful? It depends. Depends how many Republicans want to play ball. It depends if the Supreme Court is going to strike down some of the decisions or not. But I do think he will try at least. The thing with the deportations, like, you gotta be careful because Americans are very interesting. They say they want something, but the moment CNN and MSNBC starts showing crying kids in cages and, you know, grandma getting deported, the public opinion shifts. And it's not like the mainstream media, like, no, legitimately the public opinion shifts. So this will actually influence how effective he is going to be. I do notice that the culture is shifting itself, though. Unlike the first time, now he actually has a coalition of supporters. So chances are the opinion may not shift. Because now he has the popular vote. He's got even Latinos on his side. He's got various minorities. So all the people voting for him definitely voted knowing that immigration is going to be a thing. So they do expect the crying lady that's going to be taken back to where she came from. Now, there's also the question of finances and what else happens. Because, like, for instance, if there is a conflict in the Red Chinese Sea, like, that could put a stop to what's happening at home so that they can focus on abroad. But generally speaking, I do think he will try. At least he will try, and we'll see how it goes, and then we'll reassess 1 year from now. Regarding the average life of an American, I don't think much will change. Like, I don't think you're going to become wealthy. I don't think that there's going to be a lot of job opportunities that will open up in the next 2 years. But I do think that things will not get worse. I do think that at least the government will stop printing money. I do think that you're not going to lose your gas stove. And I do think that you're not going to have to be lectured by people who hate you constantly. Because this is what the Democrats have lost, and it's something that they can't gain back. Like, up until now, identity politics were considered to be uber alles. Like, you cannot criticize identity politics. They're like the gospel of truth. And every single American has to bow their head and admit that wokeness is kind of like the new religion. And if you talk against it, you're a heretic. And more importantly, they had to admit that everyone believes in wokeness. Right? Like, this is now common sense. Every single person in the United States believes in wokeness, right? So every single person believes that a trans woman is a woman. Every single person believes that